Hello, this is Cotton Soups and welcome back to another Loomian Legacy HTUC video, and hopefully this is a video on one of the last Sweet Retreat Loomians. That of course is on Bunnecki. Bunnecki, in my opinion, is a pretty unique Loomian. It does have its weaknesses, its strengths. So in today's video I'll be telling you how to use and counter Bunnecki, from sets, counters and checks, to teammates, and to what roles it can play. This video has everything you need to know on how to use and counter Bunnecki. So the first thing you should know about Bunnecki is Bunnecki's role, and it's actually pretty simple with its base stats. Its base stats you should be looking at is its HP and melee defense, because this is not really good. It's actually really low. This combo is one of the lowest things in the game in terms of fully evolved Loomian, so yeah, do not try switching in on any melee attackers. I would only suggest revenge killing them. And 48 melee attack is not really great. It's a lot lower than Dorigo's, so yeah, that's giving you an idea of how low it is. And range attack and range defense is kinda okay. 92 range attack is not really as good compared to stuff like Valkyries, Ikazunes, Mutuns. You know, it's not on that level, but it's perfectly serviceable. It is lower than stuff like Sinogra and Zulong, so just know that it's not going to be hitting the hardest. And 80 range defense is not really great, because while it is pretty good on its own, its HP stat kind of ruins it, so yeah, not really great for the range defense side. But the main thing that makes Bunnecki kind of usable is its energy stat and its speed. Its energy stat does let it go over 250, so in most cases you do not have to invest anything into energy, so you can save some TPs. And 102 speed lets it outspeed stuff like Lyricats, Garbantuses, some bulk Loas. With the right personality you can outspeed 100, and you can outspeed stuff like Vesperatu, Namare, stuff like that. Now, everything under that is also pretty good. You can outspeed those. So yeah, what role does Bunnecki play? Well, thankfully this is a pretty easy question to answer now, because it's a fast and frail cleaner. That's basically all you should be using this for. Other than that, do not use this for anything else. It has potential to set up with Magnify, which it does have, but overall it's not going to be hitting the hardest. It needs to set up to actually do a lot of damage. So yeah, with that out of the way, I'll be talking about Bunnecki's resistances and weaknesses, as well as some immunities, which is actually really important, so let's get along with it. Bunnecki's typing of Earth and Plant is actually pretty decent, because it only has 3 weaknesses to Fire, Bug, and Dark, and 1 major weakness to Ice. Ice types, particularly Hember, Wintrix, and Tundrillin, are some stuff you should be watching out for, because they all hit you super effectively, and plus you're pretty frail, so you're instantly gonna die. There is no competition. But it does have 3 weaknesses to Fire, Bug, and Dark. Fire types like Chartiki and Pyrolin are some stuff you can watch out for, but you do have Earth Stab, which kinda helps with Pyrolin, but other than that you should only be revenge killing Pyrolin. Bug types like Harvesect flat out wall you, Sudan, so do not try 1v1ing Harvesect. And I guess you can do well against Swolder, but other than that there's not much bug types you want to take hits from. Dark types, mainly stuff like Vesperatu, Slap Down Your Souls, and Metatoads, Cephalops. They will most likely scare you out, so do not try 1v1ing them at all. But you do have a decent 1 resistance, yeah, 1 resistance to Earth. And Earth types like Cetamars, Borak, and Tyrex are some good stuff you can be switching in on, because you do have that special Plant Stab, which is also pretty good. And it also does have 2 immunities to Electric and Light. Also on top of that, you do have an immunity to Plant with your Noxious Weeds, so yeah, overall that's pretty good. But Electric also, there's mainly stuff like Elephage, Zulong. Zulong you kinda do well against, but not really. And also, I guess you can count Metatoad in there, why not? But Metatoad does hit you super hard, so I wouldn't try switching in on that. Light types, mainly Luminami, Namare, Valkyrie. However, they do all hit you really super effective, so yeah, do not try that. While they don't hit you super effectively, they just hit you really hard. So with that out of the way, I'll be talking about Bunnecki's sets, so let's get along with it. So the only set I'll be talking about with Bunnecki is the Clean/Sweeping set, with the ability of Noxious Weed. I guess you can run Gluttony if you really want to, but other than that I wouldn't really recommend it. The abilities of choice, or rather the moves actually, is the Nature's Force, Landslide, Magnify. Magnify is to boost our damage even further, which is you're gonna be doing okay damage after the Magnify. It's not anything too big. But Nature's Force and Landslide, they're basically your strongest moves, and Poison Sap Plant or Wonder Herb are some stuff you can be running. I personally would want to run Poison or Sap Plant, but Wonder Herb is perfectly fine. It just prefers on your own opinion. And the personality choice is going to be Smart, Nimble, Very Frail. Nimble so we can outspeed and some stuff while running Smart, which lets us hit a lot harder than other Bunnekis. And Very Frail is to decrease the stat we're not using. And the TPs, or rather the item first, Milkshake can be used with Gluttony. You can also use Health Amulet, but I wouldn't recommend it because Bunneki is a piece of trash. Do not use Health Amulet on this thing. And Clutch Plushie helps your matchups a lot better because most stuff can one-hit KO you. And your Clutch Plushie does help you out, you know, with those matchups, so yeah. And the TPs, 28 energy, can get you up to 260 energy. I'm pretty sure this lets you use one Wonder Herb, or I'm pretty sure one Sap Plant, one Magnify, and a choice of Nature Forces or Landslides. You cannot run energies because you already are above 250, and that's pretty much good for anything because it pretty much pairs really well with your moveset, and you can invest into HP, which are leftovers, and the range attack and speed are pretty much, well, they're pretty much self-explanatory. And the other set is actually very nimble. There's no other big differences other than the personality. Foolish kind of helps our matchups against other range attackers, and I'm not saying it helps actually. It decreases our chances of, you know, fighting them, but Foolish doesn't really matter because we're still gonna get destroyed anyway. So yeah, have fun. And Frail is to decrease the stat we're not using, and the TPs are the same as always. So yeah, with that out of the way, I'll be talking about Bunneki's counters and checks, as well as its teammates, so let's get along with that. Some good counters and checks to Bunneki is Chartiki and Malmurk. Malmurk is particularly good because it resists Landslide, and it's kinda, well, it is neutral to Nature's Force, but Malmurk has enough defense to tank hits from it. It also has Mega Chomp to hit it super effectively. And Chartiki is that really good plant type. While it is also neutral to Landslide, Chartiki can hit really hard back, and also with a 200 HP invested Chartiki with the clever personality is a 3-hit KO with no range defense investment. You can pretty much run more range defense if you really want to. So yeah, you're basically gonna win that matchup against the Bunneki. However, you can run stuff like Harvest Act and Stratosaur. I particularly recommend Harvest Act out of all of these guys because Harvest Act pretty much lives a +2 Magnify no matter what. I'm pretty sure it's a 3-hit KO or a 4-hit KO, which is pretty good because Harvest Act can hit it back super effectively with a Parasitize, which has the potential to 1-hit KO. And Stratosaur is also pretty great because it has enough bulk to survive Magnify hits. Also, it is immune to Landslide, and it takes the Nature's Force hit really well. So yeah, Stratosaur is also really great. However, stuff like Totab, Mocho, Wintrix, Colossotrops, and some other stuff are really great stuff for it. While Totab can't do much against Bunneki. Well, it's actually the opposite story because Bunneki can't do anything to Totab, and this Jungle Jutsu from a Totab will destroy your Bunneki, so don't even try. Don't even try going up against a Totab. And Mocho with Wintrix, or rather separately, they're pretty good. They're not the best for switching in because Bunneki kinda does have good range attack for these guys. However, they have enough setup to destroy Bunneki. So yeah, and their ice types, they do really well against Bunneki. And Colossotrops being another plant type pretty much dumpsters on Bunneki again because Bunneki is basically walled by any plant type in existence, including Gastroke. So with that out of the way, I'll be talking about Bunneki's teammates, so let's get along with that. And offensive teammates to Bunneki is Meditoad, Eclipse, Ursul, Zeppelin, and Vesperatu. Now, there are obviously a lot more, but in my opinion, I think these guys are the best. Vesperatu is particularly here because, well, it can deal with the plant types as well as with Ursul, and that's obviously a pretty good trait. And Eclipse is here because, well, Bunneki with Noxious Weeds, you already have 3 immunities with that. Why not run a Loomian that has three immunities as well? It's like a no-brainer at this point. And Zeppelin kinda does pretty well against Chartiki, Harvesect, and it kinda sets up on Malmurk but not too much, and it kinda set up on Stratosaur but not too much as well. Metatoad is also okay. It can do really well against stuff like Stratosaur, but other than that, doesn't really want to take hits from Chartiki, Harvesect, or Malmurk. So yeah, and some defensive teammates is Stratosaur, Barblast, Harvesect, and Obsidian. Obsidian is also pretty good here because it kind of deals with the Colossotrops and the Totab. Well, Colossotrops does hit it super effectively with Primal Slash. Thanks to the resilience, Obsidian is going to be tanking a lot more hits from, I'm pretty sure, from Colossotrops. So yeah, I just wouldn't recommend switching in on Colossotrops daily. And Barblast is kind of good here because it deals with Colossotrops pretty well. It deals with Totab pretty well. So yeah, it also does, well, it doesn't does too well against Wintrix, but yeah, it can deal with that too. Stratosaur is mainly here for the ranged ice types like Wintrix and Mocho, so yeah, have fun with that. And Harvesect is mainly here for the Colossotrops and the Totab, so yeah. With that out of the way, I'll be talking about the conclusion, my thoughts on Bunnecki, so let's get along with that. So yeah, overall, do I think this Loomian is good and worth using? Hell no, don't use Bunnecki. I mean, why use a ranged plant type when there's already a really good meta brawler plant type in the game called Totab? Yeah, there's not much use for Bunnecki when Totab kinda outclasses it already, so while I do think Bunnecki does have some uses, there's just better Loomians to use overall, but that's just my opinion. If you liked the video and found this informational, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I am releasing new content, well, mostly every week or every day, so yeah, go do that. I have some other good videos like the How to Use and Counter Valkyrie, Fiskarna, Ursul, and Tyrex, which are more of my recent ones, so go check them out. And of course, remember that Zulong is still a dumpster fire.